Welcome back to another edition of the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. I'm your host, Sam Wiederhaft. Well, spring sports are certainly in full swing. There's a lot of action all across the board, but for today, we're heading out to the surf turf. The Chanticleer football team is in the middle of their spring practices leading up to the spring showcase this weekend, and we caught up with the head man. Head coach Tim Beck ran us through how these preseason practices have been going. Coach Beck is gearing up for his third season at the helm and sounds really confident about the group of guys he has early on. The Chants are eager to get back to their winning ways, so let's get right into it and hear from Chanticleer head coach Tim Beck. I know we're in the middle of spring sports season right now, but Coastal football has been getting after it the past few months. And to run us through how the spring has been going, Coastal Carolina football head coach Tim Beck. Coach, appreciate the time. Thanks for welcoming us into your office. This is great.
Yeah, appreciate you guys coming in and getting a chance to talk about our team and how things have been going so far this past month.
We'll just start off with you just telling me how the spring's been going for your guys and what's been the the feeling with the team and the energy so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I think it's a good group of young men working hard, and we're improving every day. I see from the beginning of spring till now, dramatic change in our talent, our fundamentals, our technique, execution. And it's been a good spring, very competitive. We have a lot of new guys that are battling for positions and playing time. And, it's been fun. It's been fun getting back out there and resetting, and just kind of going through everything all over again. And there's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement right now, too.
Take me through what the schedule is like for you guys and just a typical spring practice.
Yeah, really, once the season, we come back in January, and really January, February, into March before we actually start practice. We're doing a lot of lifting, running, X and O football. We call it football 101, just teaching them about the game and the offenses and defenses. And it's we try to build our culture at that time through shared adversity, right? We make it a very challenging, difficult time and have our players bond together. We get in the spring ball. This year, doing a little different. We're going 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Wednesday, Fridays, we lift and watch tape. And so it's been a grueling physical time. And, that Monday, Tuesday turnaround's pretty tough one for our guys. But it's good. We got one more week of spring, topping it off with the showcase next Saturday. And right now, knock on wood, we've been pretty healthy for the most part. And again, like I was saying, we keep improving and getting better, and that's the goal every day.
Are we in full pads at this point?
Yeah, you have to go. There's a certain number of days. You got to go a couple of days, 3 days in helmets. You get an acclimation period with what we call uppers, helmets and shoulder pads. You can't tackle all the time, but you get couple opportunities to do some scrimmage stuff where you are in full pads.
The spring is always an interesting time, and now even with the transfer portal, with new players coming in and a good amount of returners as well. What's been the mix between the players so far?
Yeah, it's always hard, right? As a coach, you want to be careful of starting to actually, it's hard to create a depth chart. You're evaluating so many of the players right now. You're just trying to put them in situations to see how they respond. And, like all of us as human beings, some days you got good days, some days you got bad days. And they're the same way. One day a player goes out and has a great day. The next day, maybe not so great. And so you got to look at consistency. You got to look over time to start to figure out who are the guys that can get on the bus or get on the plane when you go on an away game, and who are the guys you can trust to go out there and do the things you're asking them to do. And that's part of the coaching element of it. And we tell our guys everything matters, from study hall to academics to weightlifting, to nutrition, to weighing in, like all the things. All it does is show us, can we trust you or can we not trust you?
Yeah. I think all across the country, we're starting to see that concept of the spring game kind of go away.
Yeah.
From a head coach's perspective, why do you think that is?
Well, twofold. One, injuries, right? When you start to play, when you practice, you can control the settings a little bit, right? Maybe not tackle and it's a thud tempo or a tag off tempo. And you're teaching fundamentals and techniques and good stance and good tackling form and things of that nature, so you can control some of the violence, so to speak. Number two is so many of the games, the spring games, have been on TV they're losing players, right? To have a spring game, you have to divide your team. And if some guy doesn't like what team's he on, is he going to get in the portal and leave after the spring game, right? And I think eventually spring practice is probably going to go away, right? We're going to lean towards probably a model of more of how the NFL does it, where it's more of a, OTAs come in and you get a chance to work out, maybe even a scrimmage game, right? Yeah. You hear these people challenging each other on Twitter about trying to play a spring game against each other, but there's been a lot of talk about those things starting to take place in our realm of football.
Yeah. We are having a spring showcase next weekend. Yeah. What can we expect? What can fans expect to see from that?
Well, the showcase is more just having our guys out there. We still have to practice. We're still going to do some things, but it gives them an opportunity to start putting some names with faces, right? We got 3 new quarterbacks in, for example. They get a chance to see who they are, right? Because most practices are closed. So it allows for that, but it's also a fun environment, right? There's going to be a lot of things for kids. I know we're showing a movie at the end. Guys are going to sign some autographs. There's going to be some activities for them. So it's more of kind of a carnival, festival, fun activity, but also be able to go out there and showcase a little bit who we are and what's going to happen next season with our guys.
Talking to Coastal Carolina football head coach Tim Beck on the Chant Pod presented by Revolution Mortgage. Let's get into the offseason. 2024 ends 6-7, a loss in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. What were some of the main objectives coming into this offseason for you?
Well, obviously we made some staff changes, just resetting, did a lot of self-assessment, self-evaluation. What could we do better? And kind of put that into place. I just feel like we just have to do a better job of handling adversity. We had to be a closer unit. It was a challenging season with when things kind of started to go wrong a little bit. We didn't respond very well as a football team. And so I tried this year to do that. It's hard to always simulate that. And again, it goes back to that January, February shared adversity, creating your culture in your team and creating your team leaders. I feel better where we're at about that, certainly.
You talk about the staff changes on the offensive side. New offensive coordinator Drew Hollingshead coming over from Western Kentucky, a disciple of Mike Leach. What can you tell Teal Nation about him and how has he made an impact?
Yeah, I love what Drew's doing. A lot of energy. Mm-hmm. He's got a vision, a plan, and they execute it. They go out there. It's not complicated. People that have ever played against the system could probably tell you what's going to happen, but they execute, and I think our quarterbacks and receivers love the offense. It's been well. They've been doing a much better job. Our offensive line is still, Coach Wareham does a great job with those guys. They're still very physical, still run the football, but I think the biggest thing, we don't have to force anything. I think it's more taking what the defense is going to give to you. Which has always been kind of my philosophy. I go where they ain't, so to speak. And so having something that's a little bit more what I'm used to having, I'm pretty excited about that.
On the defensive side, new defensive coordinator Jeremiah Johnson coming over from Louisiana Tech, who had a really good defense last year. What was the recruiting pitch to get him into the program, and then what's he been like so far? Yeah,
it's a system defensively that's very unique. It's like playing an option offense if you don't see it. And, it was something in my career that style of defense always gave me headaches, right? Always extra game planning and reducing your plays or figuring out what to do because it's not simple. And as a quarterback guy, having that extra player in the middle, who we call the dog, but that guy in the middle, he's normally not on most defenses there. And so teaching your quarterback coverages and reads, he cloudies that up a little bit, right? Yeah. So it's a very unique system. And, it's interesting. I've known of JJ for a while, and we have some mutual friends. And I don't think it was a hard pitch. I think he was excited about coming to Coastal. I think he brought a great staff with him, kind of his family environment that he's been with for a long period of time. And they've been able to come in, put what they want in, and it's been very smooth transition.
And two more big additions, former quarterback Grayson McCall, former offensive lineman Trey Carter. Guys that were a part of a lot of wins here in this program. Why was it important to bring them in here? You
don't want to ever lose what Coastal Carolina is known for. You don't want to lose the culture. I had the privilege to coach Grayson for a year, and just his competitive drive and what this place means to him. And I knew he'd be a great coach. He was so smart, and just got the game and got people and was such a great leader. I knew that he would be a great football coach. And it's funny, when he was here, we used to talk about it all the time, like, hey, man, when you get done playing, I'm going to hire you. We're going to get you back here and get coaching. So it just happened to work out. And then obviously Trey, we tried to keep Trey. He was here for a little bit before he went to the other school and decided to come back to just expand his horizons and continue to learn different offenses. And what a great addition both those young men have been. And they love this place. They coach hard. They got a lot of passion for it, and they're going to be the really up-and-coming young coaches.
Yeah, so far in spring practices and what you've seen, what kind of leadership have both of them provided for this?
A lot. You see it, both of them. Trey's, he's a typical lineman, tough and physical, and wants the guys to play that way and demands it and expects it. And he's great with Coach Wareheim. They work together very, very well, and I've been really pleased with that group, developing a lot of young players, but very talented players.
I think a big storyline for the offseason coming into this 2025 was the talent that you added in the quarterback room. MJ Morris from Maryland, Emmett Brown from San Jose State, Samari Collier coming from a community college, Tad Hudson, who was already in this program. What have some of those preliminary quarterback battles been like?
Well, they're good. I think all of them have an incredible talent, right? And they're still learning. We've practiced 8 times, 9 times. So they're making mistakes at times, and they're doing a lot of really good things at times. So it's going to be a drawn-out battle. To think this is going to be won in 15 days, it's not going to be won in 15 days. But I'm pleased. They provide great leadership. They're all having fun. They're out there working hard, and you'll get an opportunity Saturday to see they can throw it, all of them.
Yeah. You talk about the drawn-out battle and how this is going to take a while. What are some of those things that you're watching and kind of factoring in when choosing a starting quarterback?
Well, I think the biggest thing is who moves the team. At the end of the day, who moves the team, who protects the football. It's a pretty telling stat. When you don't turn the ball over or win the turnover battle, you usually win.
Yeah.
I think my 2 years here, we're undefeated when we win it. And we're like 2-8 when we don't. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty telling sign. So a guy that takes care of the football, a guy that can move the team, good leadership, tough. They got to be tough because it's a long season. They got to get hit at times, and they got to endure that and be able to play every single week. So, but we got great battles going on all over the board. Running back, wide receivers, defense, like every position right now is battling. So the competition's been a much needed and welcome thing.
Yeah, I want to focus on that wide receiver group because Drew Hollingshead's bringing over that air raid offense to Coastal Carolina. Who have been some of those receivers that have kind of stuck out so far at spring ball?
Yeah, I mean, every day there's somebody different. You always see it.
It's a good sign.
Days. Yeah, which is good. Malik Mega's had a really, really good spring. The best he's playing. Obviously, Tuck's been very consistent for us, and Bryson Graves, 2 guys that have played and have done good jobs. But Robbie Washington, Colton Hinton, Malcolm Gilley, done some really, really good things. Cam Wright, again, played for us last year. So those guys have learned a lot from TC, the receiver coach, and just the system, and they're playing free and fast, and it's been exciting.
Defensively, I know we got Shane Bruce coming back, Wyatt Getty and Sawyer Gorham-Welch also back in the program. Who are some other names that have kind of emerged in spring ball that can make an impact?
Yeah, those guys are great leaders and have played a lot of football for us. Jaden Bryant's had a really good spring playing defensive end for us. Zach Cody at corner has really done a nice job for us as well. Zamarion Gordon, Dante Thomas at safety. There's been some guys. Avion Jones has had a really good spring, and so there's a lot of guys right now. And again, the battles that we continue to have, it's fun to watch because they know like they're all playing so hard because they're all getting opportunities right now, and they all want to make the bus and make the plane to go in those games.
Yeah. I have seen you and this team so many times for other games, women's basketball, men's basketball, baseball. Why do you think it's important to not only yourself go to these games, but also bring the team to support other coastal athletics?
Well, I mean, that's college, right? I mean, that's what we are. We're the athletic program, and we appreciate everything that everyone does, and they come to our games, right, at the end of the day, and just show support. I tell the guys all the time, like, you sit with these people in class and you represent the name on the front of your jersey just like they do, right? And so let's take some time to go and honor them and cheer them on, and they're your fellow classmates, right? Some of you, like I said, they're going to you're going to walk with them in graduation. You may be friends with some of them. So that's why we do that. We try to support each other, and as the other coaches and programs do with us.
They're always the loudest ones at the basketball games. It made a really cool environment.
Because we got more big mouths, probably.
Yeah, you got more juice in that group.
That's right.
Entering year 3 here at Coastal Carolina as the head coach, in what ways have you changed as a football coach in this time?
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough time to talk about all that, because the way the game has changed. We were talking about the other day, I think the transfer portal has been operating for 4 years, and it's changed 5 times in 4 years. It's just a constant change. So you got to be flexible, and it's been a challenge. You work 20, 30 years to become a head coach, and you have a plan, right? This is what my plan is going to be when I become a head coach. You become the head coach, and it gets blown up because guys are transferring. There's free agency. You don't know who's leaving, when they're leaving. They can leave twice, and now you're negotiating contracts with guys. I mean, it is really, really opened my eyes, really changed a lot. And so, I just appreciate like President Benson, all the things he's done, and Chance, Miller, our AD, and all the things he's done to be able to provide the support, to be able to get the right people, and just the resources available to be able to compete in the Sun Belt Conference.
And Coach, I'll close it out. I know obviously a long way till the season, a lot of things that has to happen, but what can we expect from this team throughout the summertime and those practices gearing up for the season?
Yeah, I mean, summer they'll get May off. Once we get done with spring ball in April, they'll have finals, right? We focus on the academic piece, making sure everybody does well, finishes strong. May is usually their vacation, and then we start towards the end of May, beginning of June, with them coming back for the summer program, June and July, and then we start like July 28th or 29th will be our first practice.
Yeah.
So, it's soon. It's coming. It's coming around, right? What do they say? Winter's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and we as coaches will be recruiting. We'll have summer camps, right? We'll have recruiting weekends. I mean, from transfer portal guys to high school, 2026 kids coming for official visits. That'll be going on pretty much every weekend, starting mid-April till end of June.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the spring update.
Absolutely.
This was awesome. Spring Showcase is April 5th.
Yeah.
Saturday. Come out and see this team. Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the spring.
I appreciate you guys too, man. Thank you. Chant up.
That's good stuff right there. I want to thank Coach Beck once again for bringing us into his office and running through what the spring has looked like for his group. Again, the Spring Showcase, which will be full of some really fun stuff, is Saturday at Brooks Stadium starting at 5 p.m. Come out and see this new group of Chants and enjoy the festivities surrounding the Spring Showcase. Across Teal Nation this weekend, we've got action at the Palace. Coastal Baseball welcomes in Arkansas State for a 3-game series Friday through Sunday, and the Chants are on a roll. 21-8 record. They beat up on Campbell Tuesday 15-1 and are looking to continue that momentum in conference against the Red Wolves. Coastal softball hits the road for a Sun Belt series against Georgia Southern this weekend from Friday to Sunday. The Chants have won their last 2 conference series. They stand at 28-9 right now and 5-4 in conference. Women's golf won the Golf Week Stifle Spring Challenge in Pawleys Island in a tournament of 16 teams. So a great way for the ladies to cap off the year before the Sun Belt Championship in a few weeks. Congratulations to women's golf. Men's golf will kick off the week in Florida in the Old Corkscrew Intercollegiate on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Men's tennis has a pair of road matches on Saturday at Georgia State and Sunday at Wake Forest. Women's tennis is also visitors at App State Saturday and Marshall Sunday. And women's lacrosse takes on Stetson in Florida on Saturday at noon in a conference matchup. That will conclude another episode of the Chant Pod. Love that we got to hear from Coach Beck while his team comes together in the spring. It'll be another fun weekend in Teal Nation. I'm Sam Wiederhaft, signing off. Chant's up.